Hi, everyone. Welcome to the monthly podcast with the one, the only, the original Mark Z, which we're honored to have from a special undisclosed location for him. And we're going to be looking forward to getting all of his updates as usual with the reset and just having a usual fun conversation and kind of seeing where this goes. And as the news is changing seemingly minute by minute. So we'll gauge his thoughts on that. If you are new to the podcast, please do like, subscribe, and share, as it helps the channel grow and others gain the knowledge you are afforded. As you know, Mark Z is one of the founding members of doing the reset discussion many years ago, podcaster, father, educator, business person, and faith believer extraordinaire. Mark, how are you doing today, good sir?
I have absolutely no complaints. Life is good. I'm
Yeah.
coming to you from the beautiful Dominican Republic, so I'm enjoying
Nice.
it. It's now disclosed. It's no longer
Ah,
undisclosed.
well, I wanted you to say instead of me. So it looks beautiful what you showed me. It looks very palatial. So I can see why you like it.
It's absolutely beautiful. Celebrating my father's 80th birthday, so
Oh,
enjoying it with family, my sisters. It's just really enjoying it.
very cool. Well, I'm sure he appreciates that, no doubt. So happy birthday to him. Mark, as we get started, I'll turn it over to you and kind of reverse engineer as we discussed a little bit from last time. What updates or things do you have to share of note that were of interest to you?
Hey, for me, really looking forward to some conversation with you after we do this part, just because there is so much going on. The sudden prostate cancer uh, discovery
Right.
right after the Her tape is dropping on Axios.
Mm-hmm.
Trump over the weekend talking about the Clinton body count on social media and the
Yep.
strange. I mean, when I tell you disclosure is hitting at the same time, I have a number of bond folks claiming, now we're going to see if they get paid in time or not, or when they expect it, claiming that their bond payments have originated. We'll see, guys. We've heard things like this. It is very encouraging because they are great contacts and fully believe it. The news out of Iraq just stays stunning as they just beating our heads safe, stable, secure, which Shabibi told us many years ago. That is when he would give us a new dinar, a new value. He would lift their purchasing power. So, I mean, I'm just bouncing at all the news we are getting right now. They've moved out of the rentier economy, or moving out of the rentier economy. They're now getting ready to start exporting finished petroleum products. Got a little fly buzzing me, so try to ignore me going. I'll be screaming at the mosquitoes. So I'm just absolutely elated with what I am hearing from all of my folks right now, and I can only imagine you're hearing similar things.
Yeah, no, it's very encouraging what's going on. Talking with our team regularly, it seems like we're coming on to approach on the plain parlance, as you would say, and certainly wrapping things up, which is encouraging to say the least for everybody who's sort of, chomping at the bit or very
For those who are
interested
just
in.
desperate,
Yeah, that
need
too.
it.
Yeah, need it, want it. But a lot of people, they want to help and projects and things that are, burning on their hearts. So all of the above. So I will share with you, Mark, a bevy of documents or articles that we came across. Some of this is probably old hat to you, but some of it might be hopefully something you haven't seen. So we'll see. This one was this morning. You probably saw with Majid. Iraq's move to reduce U.S. Treasury bond holdings help its value significantly the currency by lowering the reliance on the U.S. dollar, thereby strengthening the dinar. So, as the Fed is really the only one buying the Treasury debt, none of the other countries are.
Yeah. Another note on that one: the
Please.
UK just surpassed China this week as largest holder of U.S. Treasuries abroad.
Exactly right, and you'll know with that deal with the trade deal a week and a half ago with UK, it boxes China out as well of any future dealings. So that's pretty significant as far as territorial trade for us. Let's see, go to the next one here. Can you see this one, the Swisher one?
Yes,
Okay.
coming out of Vietnam.
Yes, this is interesting. This is morning. John G., one of our team members, caught this. Trump organization is making a significant stride into Vietnam's real estate market with a $1.5 billion urban complex in the Hung Yen province. So some of Trump's team is, I think, headed down a session the 22nd. We're on the 19th today, so later this Thursday.
Yep.
This building, I think, is planned to be built in 2029. not happening unless the dong starts to really show its strength of an economy, and particularly the currency itself. So pretty encouraging sign for that. Moving over here, I want to play something for you. I think this is going to be of great value for everyone, particularly for our respective audiences, and that is in respect to Governor Abbott just made a huge signature signing a bill that constitutionally bans capital gains tax in Texas. So you see that the states are decoupling from the Fed, but what that suggests to us is the currencies and the cryptos, capital gains has always been sort of a Achilles heel. That should no longer be the case. So I just want to play a short clip for you here.
This is Governor Greg Abbott, and I'm about to sign a joint resolution that will constitutionally ban a capital gains tax in the state of Texas.
Can you think about the investment dollars that are going to go there because of
Voters
that?
will vote on this to ensure that we're not going to have a capital gains tax in the state of Texas. The next tax law that I will sign will be a tax law to reduce your property taxes in Texas.
Sorry, say again, Mark. Say again.
I was just, I mean, can you imagine the amount of dollars that are going to go there, capital gains? In other words, when you're allowed to roll over real estate, you're allowed to whatever. That market is going to become so attractive because if you are, let's say you got one more roll and you're in a real estate or real estate trust, you're going to want to put it in Texas where you know when it's time for retirement, you're not paying a capital gain tax. That's huge.
It's huge, that too, Mark, and the fact that if Texas is the first, what states will fall behind it? Other red states like Tennessee, Arkansas, on and on it'll go.
And is this just a prepper for Nacera? You have to ask yourself the
Well,
question. I don't know the answer.
Well, I think that's a foregone conclusion because it's also a return to the constitutional republic. So they go hand in hand. So no, I think you're absolutely right. Moving to this one here, let me stop this here. This is another clip I want to play for you. This the future king Saudi Mohammed bin Salman Assad has something to say. First time he's actually ever spoken in this regard. So take a quick listen to this, folks.
Well, it's not everything that I've done. It's everything that we done in Saudi Arabia. I'm just one of them. And if the people doesn't buy in, it will not work. So first rule, people have to believe in it, and everyone have to push to make all the progress that we are having in Saudi Arabia. And it seems it's going really well. We are the fastest growing country in the planet, and we have the most ambitious projects in all sectors.
So that's interesting. What's your take on that one, Mark?
To me, I immediately flash back to the expansionism in the U.S., go west, young man, and all those things. It brings up a great point about that growth and that growing and how important it is. And we're growing, but that means there's a lot more wealth getting ready to come from the region, in my opinion, to be able to finance those projects. And Saudi Arabia is heavily invested in Iraq. United Arab Emirates heavily invested in Iraq, etc.
100%. You'll know he also said, he said last week, Mark, President Trump, I should say, estimating 10 trillion coming back to the U.S. from this Middle East trip. Didn't he also say that about China, that they're going to have to pay us back at least 10 trillion? Kind of a duality going on there, right?
Yeah, and it really does start whittling away some debt if China's sending back dollars.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is big here. Geologists, let me get rid of the ad here. Geologists discovered the largest copper, gold, and silver mines in the last 3 decades. Argentina, which was prophesied, we have to give credit to Midnight Cry, Deborah Williams, who said this a long time ago, actually in 2022, and now it's coming to fruition. Surprise, surprise. God's people know what they're doing. Argentina is, and he's got, Javier Milei, 0 tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, mirroring. That's what we're going to see happen with all the respective countries, particularly Iraq and Vietnam, which we just discussed. So they found some of the largest supplies in the world here. And I'm just going to go down the article a little bit so people can see kind of, some of the touch points of the article. 2 key players, BHP and London Mining, operate a joint entity called Vicuña. The partnership combines technical expertise, global reach, raising expectations for a modern, efficient mining operation. So this to me also signals, Mark, a huge move for AI manufacturing and cryptos, because cryptos take a tremendous amount of energy. So they're also going to find all these energy sources in all these countries around the world, which makes them on level playing field, but also allows the U.S. to partake in those mining needs as necessary per the trade agreement. So it's kind of a multi-pronged approach, it would seem. Go ahead, Mark.
The resources, that's something we have started covering regularly. All these just asset finds, in-ground minerals, etc. We just have a plethora of them hitting right now. And to me, that is that each country showing what assets they have to back their currency with a new system. Massive copper discovery in the U.S. I mean, just every time I turn around, we get more of those. I did want to just circle back really quickly to Vietnam, though.
Sure.
On that real estate deal, because the trolls out there are going to go, oh my God, how corrupt is that? He's getting, $1.5 trillion deal out of this. That was underway before the election. He had started that process. There are a number of articles on that front where they had started. He was looking to invest in Vietnam. He believed in Vietnam's future. Wink, wink. His State Department has pushed Vietnam, saying, hey, they need to raise their currency value. Because they've kept it too artificially low. So, I mean, you read Vietnam and Trump and look at everything they have been discussing.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Mark. Good follow-up, because also you go back to 2019, 2020, when they had the Indo-Asia Pacific Summit, right, with Trump and Pompeo, almost $1 trillion invested in that region. I don't think they're throwing fake Fed dollars to get rid of the Fed system just for that. It's to invest in a future infrastructure of a country they're heavily invested in. Now, if President Trump has a skid pallet of dinar, how much more dong does he have? That's the question I wonder.
To me, that's a huge question. We know from early stories, it was somewhere between 14 and 17 million US spent on buying dinar. And that was articles out of Florida. Guys, I'd have to go back probably 2012, maybe sooner. I don't know if you remember the dates on those or not.
I don't. I'd have to go back and look that up, but I do recall the event. Yeah. So, it's in the trillions for sure. So just going ahead for the next one, Prime Minister Advisor, Baghdad Summit took place. The 46 delegates that were here in DC, I believe, last week. And then on the 17th, as you probably know, President Trump, I believe, either here in America or on his way back, had a video conference with Soudani, telling them what he was going to do with their big brother, Iran, in removing the sanctions, much like he did with Syria last week. And I think getting them ready to proverbially pull the trigger. But the key thing, too, I thought, Mark, in this summit was they weren't just hosting it, they were leading it, getting themselves back in a leading presence on the international stage. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, that's just you made a very important key step there. They were leading the summit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excuse me, absolutely. So this just gives the the folks a screenshot of kind of the visual matrix of what was going on, how important that was in the mix of things we're anticipating. Keeping on that talk track, Trump's Gulf tour reshapes Middle East diplomatic map. Kind of already know that. A lot of discussion about peace and prosperity, obviously through this summit, and of course, again, AI manufacturing, so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you something else in regards to a healing component you already know about. We'll save that to the end.
Yeah, there is, before folks, and you may have already seen it in social media making the rounds. There is an AI fake of the president guitar screaming about giving $400 million jet to Trump and getting nothing out of it. We're going to have to give him all of this. And the lip work doesn't even match, but the liberals dove all over it, spreading it about. I just hope they're properly embarrassed for not doing any research or taking a moment just to watch it.
Just like the Biden thing, that's all they have are distractions and sidebars, but they're just becoming more and more irrelevant on the face of things, which is great to see that finally some just desserts coming to fruition, like you said. Quick on the gold telegraph, top Chinese gold producers quietly looking all over the globe, looking to acquire real ounces while the world drowns in debts and digits. Major gold producers are focusing on acquisitions as they race to lock in ounces and replenishing reserves, only a matter of time. Well, we know that the Chinese have been stockpiling gold for many, many years by our mutual friend. Go ahead.
I have a great contact that is in gold storage in Shanghai, and he says they have bare minimum 300% more. He said just his location alone, and he's heard that his is an anomaly, has 300% more than they report to the world. So yeah, China is stockpiling gold. Maybe it's some of the gold that's going to finance our reset and not the CCP. I hope. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. No, we're just bouncing back and forth, which is cool. I think that's a certainty. but also particularly, Mark, the bonds themselves, right, on all their sundry and various forms. Go ahead.
Which is curious because I guess it was going on almost 2 weeks ago. I was told that they have started doing proof of or vetting on some of the historic art already, which is a lot of gold stuff from gold
Mhm.
fountain. I mean, just different historic gold art. So when I see things like this and the metals and those other assets, it gets me excited because I was told a long time ago that was one of the final things before they completed the bond portion, gave us a reset.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think that's the place that we're rapidly approaching as well. So the fact that they're starting to have to admit it in some capacity, I think is a big sign because they weren't obviously doing that before. And then trade deals in focus this week amid stock market rebound. Uh, just kind of touching on how important the trade deals are for, all the different currencies in the BRICS. You've got, Project Sandman, the top 100 countries we know are going to sabotage the old Fed Reserve note as we abolish the Fed. It's amazing to me, some of the people we interview, Mark. Uh, I don't know if it's cognitive dissonance or they just don't believe or they just don't know, but he's already dealt with taxes. He's already baked it in since 2020, right? Through the Feds into the Treasury. But people don't realize that the Fed is totally going down and he's going to remove the private Western central bank, and the trade deals are go a long way in part to helping achieve that.
He's been busy unwinding us from the world economy for some
Yeah.
time, but still trying to preserve our wealth at the same time. I mean, much of what it may seem like an extreme comment, and then treasuries start coming back to home. Now we hold our own debt instead of another country. So you look at it, many of our dollars have started coming back. He has absolutely obliterated every Keynesian economic professor on the planet with
Yeah.
how the economy has responded to the tariffs, the trade, etc. As they find out it's dynamic. Just mean markets are going to figure it out. They're going to cut a deal. Somebody else is going to. It's not just 100% of the cost goes to the people. It's broken thinking. Reagan, you would think, put a big enough knife in the back of Keynesian economics, but then we got modern economic theory being espoused by the left, and have now figured out that's bunk. So it's got to make Andy happy to see the Austrian economics back in the spotlight and dominating as usual.
Well, I can tell you've had a positive impact on him because every time I interview him, he's more and more keen to the idea of the reset where it wasn't that way in the past. And also, I talked to him about, you already know, Judy Shelton is becoming more and more front and center
Sure.
as the lead person for the Fed with her gold standard uh, knowledge and appetite, we could say, for lack of a better word. The other thing, too, I don't know if I imagine you are, Mark, encouraging your audience to look at is the short term 10-year treasury yields, but also the long-term 30-year treasury yields as those go inversely because no one's buying that anymore in these bigger countries. But also the disproportionate amount you're seeing gold and silver continuing to stay liquid and moving upward. The decrease in crude oil, WTI, and the decrease of the dollar index, which is what we really need to see because what does the dollar hate? Competition. And it's getting more and more of that from precious metals, but also from adverse bond movements and foreign countries, dipping back into their own natural assets.
I haven't pushed any by short-term bonds, but they do. They're looking more and more attractive. Andy mentioned it. I don't remember if it was. I think it was last Wednesday. He mentioned it that as a great safe vehicle if you're looking for one. And we do know the U.S. in the past has turned around and backed their bonds with metals.
Oh yeah, and history is repeating itself now, but on a global scale. Just a couple other articles before we dip out of this, Mark. This was this morning, Amelia, on Crypto Barbie and X. Breaking Fed says central banks stand ready to provide liquidity. This is really particularly good for XRP. We're just waiting for the whole Judge Torres thing they've got this time, Mark, for effect.
They've got it timed.
Yeah, they got this down. All of a sudden she'll be like, oh, I'm gonna rubber stamp it, and boom, we're gonna watch XRP really, really take off. I'm watching for an $8 to $30 price point to line up with the reset.
Most of when I just break it down, I look at fundamentals, I look at tokenization market,
Mm-hmm.
8 to 12 is that's the math that just keeps coming home every time I sit down, break out the old calculator, pencil, slide rule, whatever guys want to call it. I keep coming up with that, and I can certainly see larger markets for it to tokenize or whatever you want to guys call it. But yeah, there is a lot of space in that XRP market for a massive run.
No doubt, no doubt, because it's been suppressed just like gold and silver and everything else for so long. It's a slingshot, right? When it comes back, the old
Rubber band.
the rubber band. Every action has an equal opposite reaction, right?
It's
Einstein's theory.
Bugs Bunny and Coyote right here, or Coyote and the that bird that runs real fast.
Oh, Roadrunner.
Roadrunner, yeah.
Yeah. I saved the best for last for you, Mark, because this has wide-reaching implications for our audiences, but also for you as well personally. And that is Valthor on X talking about med beds.
Oh, geez.
On Friday, he stepped into the med bed and everything changed. The room was quiet. It was a soft blue light. The bed looked more like a spacecraft than a hospital device. No wires, no noise, just light and a calm presence as he laid down. Transparent display appeared above me, a real-time mapping of my body showing waves, energy fields, and blockages, etc. Things no doctors ever saw. Then it began. No needles, no pain, just warmth, like light moving through every cell. My body relaxed. My mind cleared. Something shifted. For the first time in years, I felt whole. Folks, this isn't science fiction. It's MedBed technology, and it's already here.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself just, how soon for us? How soon for, because we've lost so many. You've lost dear friends. I've lost dear friends, family members in this journey. We certainly would be nice to have it.
Oh, of course. I mean, nobody knows the exact date, just like the reset or anything else. But I would say that as the bond market gets liquefied, I think that or gets liquidity in real people's hands, then I would say that that's probably a measuring stick of when the public will see it.
And I just always want to see the MedBed thing. So many people are like, it's a step too far for them. But just remember, in President Trump's first term, very, very near the end of it, he's walking out of Walter Reed Medical Center and he talks about them. It's the same interview where he's talking about bleaching blood. They were running it through a UV light and sanitizing it, and that's what they called it.
Yep.
But he talked about, I've seen technology in beds where they'll regrow their limbs. The soldier will get a real arm, not a bond. And I just wish I could point more people at that over and over and over. They're disclosing it right in front of our eyes.
Yes.
Into our ears.
Yeah, and everything, every opening they can get. Age regression, 50 years. We actually, did I tell you this story about our friend, the Marine who works at, or
no. Love to hear it.
So about 3 years ago, one of our team members, Jerry, connected me to this guy, the Marine. I've talked to him once about 5 years ago during the beginning of the scamdemic. And December of 22, the Marine, who is a retired military Marine, he fought tour of duty, I believe, in Korea and one in Vietnam, and saw a lot of his buddies go through stuff, Agent Orange and the like. And he was one of the blessed ones to get out in one piece. And so in December 22, he was given a spot to get in the MedBed, but these guys are so loyal and devoted to their guys that he gave up his spot to a guy here in California. His friend had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. In the allopathic world, you don't come back from that, right? No. It's a death nail. He gets into Walter Reed, gets into a MedBed, and the first day is a 200 increase in white and red blood T cell count. The next day, I think it was a day or two later, he finished a series of treatments with other beds. The bottom line is he went home to his wife that weekend and they walked in a field that they haven't been in for over 10 years. So this stuff is real. It does work, and it has had real efficacy for people. And of course, everybody's excited to get it. I get that. We don't control the table when that comes in, but just it gives people reassurance that it is real and it does everything it as advertised and more.
Many years I pray. God said, you're healed. I don't know the timing, but I know He's made the plan, and I think that plan has been waiting for just this moment in time.
I agree. I mean, this is, I think we're sort of hovering over the very end of it. So I've kind of emptied the vault of the articles I have. Anything else that you think is noteworthy to share?
I still just love to get an idea of what your community thinks on the sudden release of that of the prostate cancer news. Was it just to hide the her thing? Was it to hide the auto pen thing? I mean, just what of the blunders was it released for? Or is it released because of some of the Diddy news that has been hitting from? I mean, it's just been horrendous. You know, the picture of the baby holding a sexual toy in the sink
Yeah.
in the Epstein kitchen. I mean, there's just so much hitting. I'm like, all right, just what did they want to divert us from this time? Because they knew in the past.
Oh, there's no
It just
doubt.
chose that day to release the news.
Oh, 100%. As far as my community, I can't speak for my audience and what they think. They probably, I'm sure they have their own conclusions. As far as our team is concerned, and so far as that, we think it's all the above. There was talk years ago that they were going to show the Biden killed off and bring in camel toe and all that, but that would have been disastrous. So obviously Trump and his team thought better of that. But yeah, I think it's just it's a wake up operation for the people, the normies, about how corrupt the deep state has been, and it's part of popping the lid off the top so that people can see how far down this thing goes. And notice, Mark, too, when you were talking about some of the articles and the news that was coming up, they also show, Barry Soetoro, Obama on the outside looking in the mirror, in the window, and Trump on that side. So, all roads lead back to him.
And Trump's comment about the Hatch Act.
Mm.
Because of Clinton, some of his, of Obama's planned stops on the way to, I believe it's the UN summit. Right. Hey, look, you're no longer the president. You don't get to make these appearances and decisions for U.S. foreign policy. That's a violation of the Hatch Act. I'll have you picked up with marshals when you get back if you don't, slow your roll. Which
exactly.
I just loved it. Yeah, we are watching. The Band-Aid is being ripped off right in front of your eyes, guys.
100%. Yeah, but to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of everything. It's all of the above. It's just too multifaceted to just be one thing.
I think you're right.
I mean, logically,
right.
Well, I mean, it would seem logical anyway. But we're watching, and yeah, it's the other question I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about this in prep for our conversation. So we have a really great team member we're blessed to have. I don't know if you've seen him on some of my podcasts before. He goes by, to protect his anonymity. He's called B, and he works at a major financial institution everybody would know if I said the name. And his espousal is that as we see the reset happen publicly, that we're going to have we'll have 90 days for the exchange. Conversely, we'll have 90 days of perceived value for the old Federal Reserve dollar before they change the system. Right. What are your thoughts on that?
I've been told that from nearly the beginning of this journey, early 2000s, that we would have about that 90-day period. And then you would start seeing a separation between the value of the USN and the Federal Reserve note. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to me, when you said that is pretty much exactly what I've been told from day one, how this thing was going to work. So when I hear you say something like that coming into this, a decade after me or whatever, and this conversation I had with somebody very in tune, very involved in the process, and it's not a conversation I've had with many people outside. So it's not like you heard it from me. I love it because it's confirmation without circle tell.
That's interesting that you haven't had that very often. I would have thought that would have been more commonplace.
Yeah, you would think, but yeah, you're one of only 2 or 3 that have ever mentioned it to me. So kudos to you.
Well, thanks. Team effort, but
team effort.
I appreciate that. Well, I've kind of emptied the vault of what I think your audience is already well healed. Certainly ours as well. So I think I think we put the dots reasonably well together. As we conclude for now, where can people find your work, and last thoughts you have for the audience today?
Easiest place, theoriginalmarkz.com. You can find me as the Original Mark Z on Rumble. You can find me at YouTube. If you're looking for me on X, just at Original Mark Z. Wasn't room for the THE. Beware, there's so many fake Jon Dowlings out there trying to get you to invest in their crypto scam. So many, fake Mark Zs. It just, guys, do your due diligence. Do your research. When we share articles, take the time to read them, because we're not bringing you nothing.
Absolutely. Because this takes some doing, and there's so much coming in, as you know, that it's hard to keep up, quite honestly. even for myself, and I imagine you as well. It's a full-time endeavor.
It is.
And folks, as you know, we do have a very qualified currency dealer with whom we've worked, that we've had success with. So if you're looking to add to the cache or get dinar, dong, Zim bonds, Venezuelan Bolivar, Colombia peso, by the way, which is now going to become part of BRICS. That's a big sign right there. And we'll call it the second round of the exchange, if you will, is going to be a firm player along with the Thai baht. We will leave that link in the description for you to peruse at your leisure. The original Mark Z, thanks for joining us, brother, on your vacation. Happy birthday to your dad again, and we'll look forward to catching up with you soon.
Appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you soon.